Hey gang, this is Rick with Let's Level Up. Welcome back. This is actually our first video in a while, and it's really good to be back. And I'd like to start things out with a really fun filler game that's a throwback to some of the old school arcade fighting games. Some of my favorite moments growing up were my brothers and I huddled around my Super Nintendo Entertainment System playing Street Fighter II Turbo. It was just so fun. Was my Ryu better than my brother's E Honda? Why would my brother play E Honda when there's obviously better characters like Ken or Dalsum or Blanca? There was just a lot of really fun and engaging times, and it was a really cool experience to be a gamer back then. Everything was much simpler, and there was a lot of really cool skill-based fighting games like Street Fighter II Turbo. The game we're going to be talking to you today is from a company called Most Monday Games, and is from a designer named Cohen Hendricks. The game itself is Dragon Punch, and it is a very portable card game that is going to be a fighting game for 2 players or more. This game is on Kickstarter now. You can back it by looking at the link in the description of this video. Also, if you look at letslevelup.net, I will have links to the Kickstarter there. And this is just a really fast, cool game. In it, you're going to deal damage and try to defend against your opponent's attacks by kind of a blind selection of what move you're going to be doing. And the blind part is that you don't know what your opponent is going to be choosing. You only have so many skills that you're going to be able to do per round before you kind of know what to expect next. So you're going to have to do a lot of gauging and theorizing and kind of predicting what your opponent is going to try to do to you. All in all, it makes for a really engaging, really heated experience. Again, the game is super small. Each player is going to have 7 cards. There's 5 cards for rules, there are 4 cards for characters, and then there are 6 basic cards per player. That's the game. You're going to get all of that for around $10.50 US. You can also get a limited edition tin available. I think I believe their Kickstarter has 99 reservations of that, and they are more than likely going to sell out of those. So it's definitely something I would think, if this game is interesting to you, to try to get on that, because the tin looks really cool. The artwork on the cards is very simple, but really effective in conveying the message of the game. All in all, I really enjoy this game. It's one of those games that I can play with my son, and we can play it literally anywhere. Does not require any sort of table space to play. The game is played entirely from my hand. So what the opponent player is going to see is something like this, right? So when it comes to actually playing the game, let's say I wanted to throw a fireball. I'll take the fireball card, I'll put it in front, and then we'll reveal to each other simultaneously what we have. Now this is a fireball spell, or rather an attack. It's a projectile attack, and a projectile attack has its own set of rules. There are other things: a high kick, a block, a throw, a taunt, and a low poke. As you take damage in the game, these abilities are actually going to shift. So, and I'll be the one to be able to choose, or rather you'll be the one to be able to choose which of your cards take damage. When they take damage, you're going to take the white side and flip it to the red. So that's how you know how much damage you have left. The round is over when all of your basic cards are red side up. That means you've ran out of life and unfortunately have lost the round. But don't worry, because you'll have another chance in a best of 3, basically, to best your opponent twice. It's a really fun game. There's 2 primary levels where your attacks are going to come. There are going to be high attacks or low attacks. Each of those is going to have an attack value, a speed of how fast the attack is coming, and there's even going to be chances for you to evade attacks at a certain level or block attacks at a certain level. Where this game really gets interesting is with the initiative system. There are certain attacks that are going to give a player initiative or cause you to lose initiative. If you have initiative, that basically means your ability is going to resolve first, rather your attack is going to resolve first. If you don't have initiative, if neither player has one, then the player who has the highest, or rather the fastest card is going to go first. If the card speeds are the same, then basically both attacks are going to happen at the same time, and it's going to resolve at the same time. So there's a way for potentially a double KO in this game, which I think is really interesting. Every player is also going to have one character card, which are really cool artwork and I think really cool. They're purple, they stand out from the rest of the cards, and these are cards that they're not going to count as wounds. So you can still flip them around and choose whenever you like which side. So if we take a look at the karate lady here, she has a dragon punch and an ultra beam. So each one of those has its own abilities, its own set of text on there. There's this really, really good looking, rather art-wise, this female M. Bison Hydra agent I really like. She has Meteor Storm and Teleport as her abilities. And then we also have this really cool masked luchador named, with abilities Lariat and a counter. And then finally we have a really cool character as well. He has a sweep and a dive kick ability. So what's cool about these characters is that you can ad hoc pick whichever ability that you want. When you decide to select a card, what you're going to do is actually turn it over so that it's no longer able to be selected from you. So if I use this sweep attack, excuse me, let me get my hand here. So if I have my hand of cards and I use sweep last turn, what my opponent would see is something like that. So they know that this card is not going to be played. I can, again, choose which cards I'm going to be played, and I get to choose which of my basic cards take damage. So if I don't want to be able to do high kick and I'd rather do crouching fireball, or rather, if I don't want to do fireball and I'd rather do crouching fireball, before I use the fireball spell, I can actually if I take damage, I can turn this card up to the red and then use crouching fireball for one of my abilities. You can take damage to cards, again, even though you've used them, you still take damage to cards that are available back here. So if this was a white side up, I'd still be able to turn it over and take red, or make it red there. Extremely portable, extremely fun game. I definitely recommend you guys checking out the Kickstarter. Really, really good. For your money, for $10, I don't think you're going to get a much cooler and more thematically awesome Kickstarter project that I've seen that's out there right now. So definitely take a look at Most Mondays. Dragon Punch. I think Cohen has done an excellent job on this, and it is definitely fun. And if anybody has ever watched the channel knows that's the kind of games that we like. So I'd like to thank Cohen for the opportunity to take a look at Dragon Punch. Best of luck to Most Monday Games and everybody working on the project and the Kickstarter thing and in the future. So everybody else watching this video, thank you so much. We really appreciate all the kind words. As you guys know, we just welcomed our third child. That's the third one into this world. And we've taken a couple months off just to kind of recharge. So it's really cool to get back in there. And I really am really excited for some of the cool projects we've got coming your way. We plan on making a pretty big splash for the rest of the year. So thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like the channel. Tell your friends about the channel. That would be awesome. Subscribe if you haven't already. But most importantly, game on.